Mr. Brooks, Superintendent's report.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you very much for coming out. Very exciting week as we're preparing for the closing of school here, believe it or not. Final exams are going to start to run into full steam as students prepare for what's coming. I know it seems that's kind of silly because it's early May, but that's when the minds start moving in that direction. AP exams are going to begin at the high school, and once AP exams begin, then Regents prep begins, and then Regents prep turns into, okay, now it's final exam week, and then all of a sudden it's graduation and moving up time. So exciting times coming for us here in the school district. Today we had an administrative meeting with the senior citizens group down in the basement of the church downtown. Really, truly a wonderful group of people. We've gone every year. This year, I think I enjoyed the crowd the most. We really spent some time kind of wandering and mingling at first because they trickled in, and we don't want to get in between them and buying their bingo cards and 50-50 tickets. So we carefully maneuvered our way around the tables, and then we spent some time kind of giving an overview of the coming school budget for the 1920 school year, and also spoke about Vision 2020. I'm telling you, this group is on this. They understand what's going on. I wrote here in my notes, they're keenly aware of the storied history of Marlborough, good, bad, and indifferent. They're very proud of Marlborough. They want the best for our kids because our kids right now are their grandkids and great-grandkids. So this is a great group to talk with, and I'm loving that they're still fully engaged for a little bit, because then we get in the way of them playing bingo from the cards that they played. So we answered questions. They had some very good questions. Questions actually moved even into star exemptions, and when is New York State going to do away with that? And I'll say to this crowd too, and anyone that watches the recording of this, I encourage the group today and tonight, make sure that you contact your town's assessor and question your house's star exemption status, because there have been some recent changes in the way that the state administers the star exemption for school taxes, and a lot of it depends upon income level and also when you purchased your home. So contact your assessor's office. The school district has no jurisdiction or role in that process. Your town assessor does, and New York State real property does as well. So contact them, because don't assume you still have the exemption. There have been changes. Next week we have a meeting, so this is today is a rescheduled meeting so we could push it closer to the budget vote. So we have our budget hearing tonight that Mr. Witherall will review with us. And next week is a very exciting meeting. We have our regular Student of the Month awards, but we also have the PTA Reflections winners coming down for their artwork from the elementary school, and that's always very exciting. And we also have a recognition for a 1,000 book club reader from the Marlborough Library. So really exciting group of folks coming to next week on the 16th, and really look forward to that. Also want to give the board a heads up. We've received a request from our high school for a trip approval. Overnight trip approvals come to the Board of Education. And this one is for the senior trip for the 1920 school year. It's the same trip as this year. It's the one that the students pitched a couple years to us down to Florida. So I will have that paperwork on the agenda for the board's consideration at the meeting on the 16th. And with that, I pass it back to you, Mr.
Okay. Mr. Merrill's not here tonight. He's at work still grading tests for the Orange Ulster BOCES meeting. For the Ulster BOCES meeting, Mr. Brooks and I attended the annual meeting, which now wraps it up for the year. It was up at Ulster BOCES in Port Ewing, which was really nice because the culinary students put on the dinner that goes with it, and we also got to hear some stories about the different students from the different districts and the things they were doing. It was really nice to see the different programs, and really good to hear that the seniors, where they're going, who's going on to college, who's going on right into the workforce, a couple going into the military. It was nice to see and hear. So that's it on the Ulster BOCES report, and we'll move on to Mr. Jackson for this
Good evening. Thank you everyone for coming out tonight. Nothing too major to report this evening. Mr. Brooks briefly mentioned testing, and this past week we started wrapping up some of our state assessments at the grade levels 3 through 8 as students are finishing up their computer-based math state tests. So with the exception of the 4th and 8th graders who got to take the science exam later in the month and more towards June, most of the students at those levels are kind of done with their state level testing, which is always nice. And one more thing I like to add was I had the privilege this morning of attending the Students with Admirable Traits, or SWAT, breakfast at Marlboro Middle School. And it was a very great event. And I know we usually see, one student from each school a month at our board meetings, and they're honored through Student of the Month. And what we don't realize is that there's a lot of eligible students in this school district who can get those awards, and I would hate to be the teacher to have to pick, because they brought out a whole lineup of students this morning, and one after the next, just truly what their teachers had to say was very impressive. I took a couple notes from the ceremony. Students were described as hardworking, courteous, having a thirst for knowledge and learning, outgoing. One of my personal favorites was about a student whose teacher said, when he walks into the classroom, he means business. And I just like that, because it's very nice to know that students are serious about their education, and that's really what it's about, to be a Duke in this school district. So it's very good. Kudos to Marlboro Middle School for putting this on. It's twice a year. I think they've been doing it for about a decade, and it's really maybe gets to show some of the students who maybe aren't the student of the month, because that's such a very selective award, but really get to let everybody know that these students have very great qualities as well. And with that, that's all I have.
Thanks, Matt. I will say, obviously you've picked up some ideas and thoughts on how to pay attention at these events. It sounds a lot like what Mr. Brooks says when he gets done talking about the students of the month. So I'm glad this experience has really worked out for you. Okay, so now we'll move on to the budget presentation, and then we'll be doing the candidates.
Okay, good evening. It's going to kind of go through fairly quickly. It's information that we've seen a number of times before tonight. Tonight's the official presentation. So just to recount the tax cap levy calculation, 2.61% increase is our tax cap levy limit, and that's what we're proposing for the budget. An increase of about $907,000 from last year. Estimated tax increases, again, we won't have the final information until we get all of the information on the valuations of the various municipalities, the equalization rates. That stuff comes in the fall. Historical tax levy increases, just again to point out that we're still under where we were 5 years ago in terms of what we're proposing for our tax levy. We had a number of years of declines in the tax levy. Just a quick summary. I know it's hard to see, but looking at 2.59% increase in the budget, and we are appropriating about $4.6 million in reserves and fund balance to help balance that budget. The three-part budget comparison is our legally required method of presenting the budget. And then we also have what a possible contingent budget looks like if the budget were to fail. Obviously, we would work with the board to look at what a contingent budget would ultimately be. And then just a reminder, the budget vote is Tuesday, May 21st. We do have 3 candidates running for 2 seats, and we also have the Vision 2020 capital project bond proposition on the ballot.
I could also note the ballot will be two-sided, so we will make sure that our poll workers are keenly aware of that so that they can remind people to look at both sides and complete both sides of the ballot. It's an important piece. So.
Any questions from the board? Okay, thank you.
Pat.
And now we'll move on to our candidates. Ms. Reed, you're first. You're on the ballot, so we'll go in that order.
Good evening to the Board of Education and community members. I am Joanne Reed. I have decided to run for a seat on the school board again for a number of reasons. I am also blessed with 2 young men that have special needs. What I have learned from my boys and others is to have compassion, empathy, and understanding. I would be honored again if you give me the chance to represent our community on the Board of Education. When I was on the board, I was the only board member that had knowledge of special education and regular education. I also worked for the community to be financially responsible, holding the school district accountable for the way we spend our tax dollars. With the experience I have learned between the board and learning it is not only about our taxpayers, but our business owners too. So working with the board members, we would put monies from the reserve into the budget to give relief to our community. I served on the board for 7 years, and to this day I am the only board member that went to New York State School Board Association convention for 6 years that gave me the opportunity to learn the latest laws, issues that face this school district and our students. I was the delegate for our district. I wear my colors, black and orange, very proudly to this day. I believe the best boards are not only made up of men, but women also. We bring an equal voice to the table. As taxpayers, we should have an equal say. Being on the board is not just showing up every 2 weeks for a meeting. It is being involved with our students, our community, and the staff, and to show the support and the respect. To this day, I still come to board meetings and ask questions. Being on the board is not about your personal agenda. It is on how to make a better education for all students, working together with the other 6 board members and being financially responsible and being a team. I know I have always been transparent. I will not make any false promises I cannot keep, but I will work hard. Remember, trying to keep the taxes lower helps people keep their homes and their businesses. So those are some of the reasons I hope to gain your trust and your support again. Thank you. I am Joanne Reed, number 1 on the ballot.
Thank you, Ms. Reed. Ms. Brooks?
Good evening. I'm Karen Brooks, Marlborough Central School District Board of Ed trustee candidate, and I'm number 2 on the ballot. I'm grateful and I'm honored to be a trustee candidate in this election. I have met so many wonderful people in our community. I already consider myself a winner, just regardless of the election with the people that I've met. In this election, we have 3 qualified candidates running, and I'm proud to run against them. These two wonderful people are talented, equally qualified candidates, and I've had the opportunity to reach out to both. The Marlborough community has been my home for approximately 36 years. I plan to retire and continue to live in this community as I'm getting older. I'm a mother of a 10-year-old girl that attends the Marlborough Elementary School, a wife, an educator, and also a business owner in this community. I'm running for the board for a number of reasons. The board is always something that, over the years, I've aspired to do. And timing in my personal life and my work life are perfect at this time for me to do so. I have a love and a passion for learning and our students, as well as an admiration for all in our educational community. It's everyone working as a team that make our schools and our community as successful as they are. And finally, giving back is very important to me as a person. I've served on a number of boards over my past 28, 29 years in the education career. It's important to me for my commitment for quality education and the development for our most precious treasure that we have. That's our children and our future. This fall, the 2019-2020 school year, Marlboro Elementary School is going to be welcoming in a new kindergarten class. This class is going to graduate in the class of 2031. It's imperative that we give all of our students the academics, the social, the emotional, the communication, and the life skills needed to achieve in the world that they are going to live. Many of these students are going to be working in a global market in fields that do not even exist yet today. These children, these kindergartners, will be reaching middle age, be standing hopefully at this podium in the year 2065, 2070. I ask you, what will you be doing in those years? It's our job as a Board of Education trustee to ensure we give them the creativity, the critical thinking skills, the learning opportunities and needs in order for them to compete in the global job market that they are going to be working in and to become productive and successful members of our society. It is with that in mind, and that for all of our students, being a member of the school board is so important to me, and as a civic responsibility and duty for our community and our youth as a role model. As a member of the Board of Education, I offer you a tremendous amount of knowledge in the field of education. I've been an education consultant and coached many educators, teachers, and administrators for my 29 years, facilitating in districts, working as a team, overseeing the education and the success of our youth. In these challenging times, public education, school boards are seeking individuals like myself who find excitement and satisfaction in confronting tough challenges and working collegially to rise above them and help our students in these communities succeed above all obstacles. It is that we have made, these are some of the items that have made me successful in my career at this point, and I would like to offer them up that what I could help at as a board member. I'm a data analyst. I currently work in the Highland Central School District. And I have done this for many districts in our region, as well as for our state at the DATAG level, and looking at data analysis both at the strengths of what our students have and at the areas of need improvement. And I'm good at celebrating not only our successes, but the areas that we need to, improve for our highest performance for our students. This need is to be done through rigorous and diverse programs and to help people and to be done through people that have a love of learning. My skills have been developed in education over the past years. I entered as a teacher's aide many years ago. I worked up to a preschool teacher, went to a teacher, building level admin, coordinator of such things as special projects for reading, regional coordination in our county, to director level for special education, curriculum, technology, and data analysis. I'm also an education consultant and even was brought in by the Marlboro School District to look at such scores as AIS, special ed, other areas to help with those students. Through this time period, I have learned the art of effective communicator and consensus builder. I've learned to be an active listener and to be able to look at situations from many perspectives and to help very diverse teams come together to a consensus. I facilitated many district documents which set vision and goals in districts in our region. As a person involved in community and education, I'm a member of Meet Me in Marlboro. I've served on the advisory board for Marist College Computer Science Department undergraduate and graduate programs. I've served on the graduate advisory board for Cornell University for Active World and the Computer Science Graduate Department. And I'm also on the regional advisory board for our Mid-Hudson Regional Information Center. As a leader, I've been asked to do keynote presentations at the College of St. Rose and SUNY New Paltz on the topic of 2030, the future of education and the changes that are needed in education in order for our students to be successful. As an information processor, I'm a valuable team player in the fact that I'm a researcher and a serious planner. I am the type of person that even has a contingency plan for the alternative plan. And it's imperative to be ready for all things that may happen in the educational community and our world today. So based on my training, my dedication, my perseverance, and knowledge of education and field, and love for teaching and for our students. I'd be honored to have your support in this election and proud to serve our educational community for the next 3 years. So I would like to thank you for your time. I'd like to thank you for listening, and I'd like to thank you for your support. I am Karen Brooks, and please vote on May 21st.
Thank you. We'll move on to public comment on the agenda items. Any public comment on the agenda items?
I just have a couple. One is, I noticed on the budget presentation, I'd like to know, Patrick, on a $200,000 home, what is the tax increase if the budget goes through?
That's the number we have on the basic star Marlboro plate. But remember that these are
preliminary numbers that are based on all data from last year,
Right.
because we don't have the information for this year until the fall. But right now, the estimate is $321 for a basic star exemption.
No, no, I'm not talking about the star exemption. I'm talking about if I own a $200,000 home, what would my tax rate, because according to what is up on the website, on the financial budget, you have it up there, it's like $29 or $28 per $1,000. So it would be a $600 increase. Is that correct? Minus the $300 star.
That's incorrect. All homeowners who live in their homes qualify for either a basic or enhanced star exemption. So if it's your home that you own and you get your basic star exemption, the estimate is $321.
So, but you have that up there for everybody. Everyone's house is a different rate. So how can everybody still get the $321?
This is a $200,000 sale price home.
It's the same base number we use every year. It's the 200,000. It's the same example.
So your taxes are only going to be about $300,
That-
maybe four.
The estimate right now is $321 increase. It's a complex calculation to figure out what your tax is, because you have to deduct your star exemption from your taxable assessed value of your property, and then you take your resulting taxable assessed value after the star exemption is removed, and that's where you apply the tax.
So if you have $200,000, you're going to take the $300 and some odd dollars off that.
$200,000 sale price home
Right.
is estimated to see a $321 increase in your tax bill.
That's after, that's not before the August adjustments, correct? It could go up another $200.
You won't, until the tax levy and each taxable value is done in each municipality.
Correct.
And what your individual assessment is in each district, nobody will know the exact number, but based on the formula we've used every year, the basics, anybody with a $200,000 home in Marlboro, Plattekill is going to go up approximately $321, but that we know is always high, because when the numbers come back and the values change, it depends on the overall value of the total school district, which we don't know until Marlboro, Newburgh, and Plattekill set their tax rate, which unfortunately, the way the law is set up, doesn't happen till just before the bills come out.
Correct. Okay.
And $288 in Newburgh.
And my other quick question, so Newburgh would be higher, correct?
No, lower, $288. On an equivalent, using the
We adjusted
the
to
adjusted rate, because remember, Newburgh's not at 100% valuation, but if you had the equivalent of 100% valuation of a $200,000 home, the Newburgh increase would be approximately $288.
And that's why we use sale price instead of taxable assessed, because Newburgh assesses at about 34%. And again, that equalization rate won't come out until later in the year
Right,
also.
because up on the financial budget, it says $87 per $1,000.
That's
So-
talking about assessed value.
Correct. And that's what we're talking about here, is the assessed value of the house is
Now, this is the
$200,000.
This is the
Sale
sale
price.
price.
Wait, this is the sale price?
Yes, it's 200, the equivalent, so you're comparing apples to apples. We'll use the Marlboro analogy. A $200,000 sale price home in Newburgh is
Right.
going to go up approximately $288. A sale price home in Marlboro and Plattekill is going to go up approximately $321.
Okay. So that, my question is, if your house is assessed at $200,000, you're not
have-
selling it, what is the tax going to
You
be?
can't go by assessed value because that is, you have to use the rate that's in the,
The assessed values will vary between Newburgh and Marlboro and Plattekill. A $200,000 sale price house will be assessed at $200,000 in Marlboro and Plattekill. It will not be assessed at $200,000 in Newburgh. It will be assessed at a much lower rate because their equalization rate is 34%. So that would be assessed at approximately, I guess, about $68,000 taxable assessed on a $200,000 sale price home in Newburgh.
Okay. So my other question is, that's on the agenda, is the furniture we're getting rid of from Middle Hope. That's on the agenda. Is it being auctioned, sold, thrown out? Because it's an awful lot of furniture that you have listed on the agenda.
What
So-
we typically do after we have a board policy that dictates the disposal of assets, once a board declares them excess, so we will distribute, or we will get rid of the furniture in accordance with that policy. So yes, we contract with Auctions International. They've sold products for us before. Whatever does not sell will be offered for free so that we don't have to pay to dispose of it. And if nobody takes it free, then we pay to dispose of it.
And that would be put up on the website, correct?
That would go up on Auctions International's website when they go to sell it.
Okay, I'm talking about when, after that's all done, because you just said for free. So anybody in the district that needed a desk could have it instead of throwing it out. That's what I'm asking, is to make sure that it does go up.
Possibly, yes.
No, I don't want possibly, because
Well,
there are
if
kids
it
that can use them
sells-
at home. I
If it
mean,
sells
you
in
know.
Auctions International, nothing will go to the website.
No, the auction part, no, but I'm saying after you're done with that, what's ever left.
It'll be disposed of in accordance with the board policy.
Yeah. Thank you.
thank you. Any other public comments on the agenda items?
Hey, just one quick thing for Pat. Maybe before you put this up on the website, maybe on the page that was in question about the tax increase, might want to update the header that it's for a $200,000 house or whatever other words you would want to put. I don't really realize that either until tonight, so. Good, great.
We'll move on to the consent agenda. Resolved that the Board of Education, upon the recommendation of the Superintendent of Schools, approves the contracts, agreements, and reports as presented. Personnel recommendations, textbook adoption, budget transfer, equipment disposition, contracts, monetary donations, and unofficial Board of Education minute meetings for 4/25/19. Can I have a motion? Susan, second. John. Any discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries, 5-0.
Excuse me, can you guys recognize the two people that are retiring off the list?
The superintendent's going to get there in 1 second. We just voted on it.
Yeah, we will have a formal recognition for all retirees in one of the June meetings, but we did have two, Joe Marie Pagano and Michelle Nusco. Many years of very successful work with our children. We're truly appreciative of the work they've done with our kids, and they're just top-notch people. So we will formally recognize all of our retirees from throughout the year in June.
Okay, we'll move on to recognition of district residents. Recognition of district residents. Okay, old business? Any old business? Any new business? Any other items? We do have a proposed executive session to discuss employment history of a particular person's proposed pending and current litigation. So can I have a motion to go into executive session? Tony, second by Susan. All in favor? Any opposed? We will not have any action afterwards, Mark. Thank you, everyone.